Welcome, third graders. You've reached slide 2 of reading, and our focus is going to be reading with fluency and making connections. Oh, hey, you caught me reading The City of Ember by Jean Duprow. Let me read a little bit of this to you. When the city of Ember was just built and not yet inhabited, the chief builder and the assistant builder, both of them weary, sat down to speak of the future. They must not leave the city for at least 200 years, said the chief builder, or perhaps 220. Is that long enough? Asked his assistant. It should be. We can't know for sure. And when the time comes, said the assistant, how will they know what to do? We'll provide them with instructions, of course, the chief builder replied. And that, I have a connection. We are providing you guys with instructions on how to successfully do at-home learning, and we are giving you instructions. And that's a connection that I just made from reading The City of Ember. So you'll see on this slide that the first thing it says is making connections, and you can click on that link and it will take you through a PowerPoint, and I'll walk you through that in a moment. But let's look at this suggestion. It says, read at least 1 hour a week to keep your reading skills sharp. If you picked up a printed packet, there's a fiction story for you to read. If you don't have many books at home, the questions are optional. But remember, we have access to Epic Reading and Mac and Via, and I believe that's it. But you can share your work with your teacher by uploading a picture of your work. You could upload a video of you explaining what you read and some of the connections that you make. You can also share your work. Choose a way to share your thoughts on your reading. You can read your ideas to a family member at home. You can read your ideas to a pet, which my wife, Amy, loves that idea. You can call a friend and read your ideas, or you can read your ideas to a stuffed animal, or you can always read them to yourself. Here is a student example. You can write them down on paper. If you have a spiral, you could always put it in your spiral. So let's go ahead and click on this link right here, making connections. It's going to open up this document. Making connections. Every day as you read, you can make connections and jot them down. Let's see some examples. So, of course, you can read any book at home. And like I mentioned earlier, you can read from Mac and Via. You could read a book from Epic. Oh, and that's what I forgot. You could also read an article from Newsela. And I will provide you with all those login choices. Making connections. As you read a text is like having a conversation between what's in the book and what's in your mind. Your reactions, thoughts, and ideas about the story matter. As you read, you can keep track of not only the important events, but also what you think about those events. You can connect to personal experiences. Are there similarities or differences in your life, your family, your friends, any places you've been, things you've seen, feelings you've had, your experiences, or somewhere that you've been? You can connect big ideas across different text. Are there similarities or differences in different texts you've read? Did the author write them for the same or different reasons? How are the topics the same or different? Do the texts have same or different messages or theme? How are the plots the same? How are they different? Think about how the characters are similar or different from each other. You can connect to real-world happenings. Are there similarities or differences in something you've seen on TV, the news, a newspaper story, historical events, current events, something you've studied before, real-world happenings, or a conversation? In your notebook, if you choose to write this into a notebook, or if you're just on a piece of paper, you can make a T-chart and make 2 headings, from the text and from your mind. You can jot down a small portion of the text, like the book I was reading the city of Ember. If you came across that part about, that we're giving the instructions, then I would write that little part here on from the text, and then I could jot down what was in my mind, like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about how we're going to get all these instructions out to students and parents. So you could write an important event, a problem, a quote, a fact, if you're reading nonfiction. From your mind, you could write, this reminds me of, or this makes me feel, this is similar to, this is different from, or this makes me think about. My connection was kind of, this makes me think about, because I was thinking about how we're getting instructions to you guys. Here's an example. Here's how one fourth grader responded. And you can click on this and it will send you to another link. But this says, how else could I respond to my reading in my notebook? And again, click on the pictures for more examples. Let's go ahead and click on that. Yeah, sorry. We'll come back to that. Every day as you read, add on to your T-chart, writing down ideas from the text and connections you're making. And again, you may read any book from home, a book from Mac and Via, and a book from Epic, or an article from Newsy LA.